I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time. Welcome to Women Awakening. I'm your host, Cynthia James, and I get to introduce you to extraordinary women that inspire me. This is a time of women emerging, and I believe that we are changing the world one person at a time, one family, one community. In fact, we're changing this planet because this is the time for women to bring their voices forward. So my guest today has been in my life for a very long time, and I am such a fan of her work. Her name is Shirley Finney. She's an award-winning international director of theater, television, and films. She has worn her director's hat in some of the most respected regional theater houses across the country. I'm just going to name a few: the McCarter Theater, the Pasadena Playhouse, LA Theater Works, the Crossroad Theater Company, the Mark Taper Forum, Kennedy Center for Performing Arts, and the State Theater Opera House in Pretoria, South Africa. She most recently presented an online streaming production of Emmett Till, and it was critically acclaimed for its directing and its editing. She is the recipient of the Los Angeles Drama Critics Milton Casales Distinguished Career Award. She's also an alumni of the UCLA Department of Stage, Film, and Television Distinguished. And she, in fact, she got an award. The Best Alumni Associations for Dr. Beverly Robertson Award for Excellence in the Arts. She has an MFA degree from UCLA and is a member of the Society of Stage Directors and Choreographers and the Directors Guild and the Screen Actors Guild. We met many years ago, and when I was doing my one-woman show, she helped me craft it and direct it, and I traveled all over doing it. Shirley Jo, welcome. I'm so happy you're here.
So happy I'm here too.
Well, it's just, I'm just going to give the audience just a little bit of a history. We were in a circle of women for a number of years. We supported each other, loved each other, nurtured each other, lifted each other's dreams up. And so Shirley Jo, a lot of people think that people just drop into success, but I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about your history, where you came from.
That whole thing about dropping in, I have probably fallen in. I did not choose the entertainment industry as the place where I thought I was going to be. The only thing I knew coming up was I was going to go to college, and it was embedded in all of us and all the kids. You're going to get a college. You're going to go to college. You're going to get a degree. I don't care if you marry a garbage man, but you're going to get a degree, because you're going to have to fall back on that. So my mother was an educator. And so, you model after, who you see. And so all I knew is I was going to go to college. And I probably thought I was also going to be a teacher majoring in creative writing until my first year of college, when I was approached by a person that I knew who ran across the campus and asked me what I was doing. And I said nothing. And he said, well, they need a actress in the theater arts department. They need an actress of color, and they don't have one. And the show that they were doing was called In White America. And there were 6 characters, and they needed someone to play all the women from the little girl on up. I had never done that. And so I'm saying this because it's the foundation of who I am. If there's something I haven't done, or if there's a door that's closed and I want to know what's behind it, I will go and jump into it without questioning. And that's what I did. I went, okay. And after that first experience, especially with that show, because it just deals with the historical narrative of America up and through 1972 at that time. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those things where, I can touch, I can make a difference. And also it was feeding that need in me, because it was nurturing, and it was a place where I could be seen. And that was a thing that was in my core that I was always searching for. So that track was from then I changed my major from English to theater, and I followed that path. And that path led me to do some wonderful work as an actress on film and television. As you said, I my very first major film was a film called River Niger that had James Earl Jones and Cecily Tyson and Lou Gossett and Glenn Turman, and all of these. Right now, they're iconic actors. And then I had the privilege of being cast in a role that I played the title role of Wilma Rudolph, who was the first Black woman to win 3 gold medals in the 1960 Olympics. And she was living and breathing as I was doing her role. And that was really major for me. It was one of my milestones, I'll say. It was a milestone because I said, I don't care what a critic says, because she came on set every day. And after it was over, there was a scene that happened in that film where my father told me I couldn't go to the Olympics. I'm saying the I am as Wilma. Mm-hmm. And it was a scene where I was disheartened because I was pregnant. Mm-hmm. And she was on set, on the side of the set, and she was tearing up and had to be led off the set because she said to me, oh my God, it was like it was happening all over again. And I said, oh, that's the review. And so that was my first person who was living and breathing and a heroine. And the second milestone, I would say my milestone in theater came when I was asked to direct in South Africa at the Pretoria Opera House, 1,800 seats. And it was the Winnie Mandela story, an opera.
Right.
That was another woman who was heroic. I mean, it all depends on your point of view. She's either known as the mother of the country or this murderous blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but either way, she was infamous and powerful. Exactly.
She was powerful. She changed the conversation, and she overcame challenges. Like Wilma overcame polio because she couldn't walk when she was a kid. So I didn't know it at the time. I was like pursuing the world, but it was impacting because knowing that we're all energy, and then we're all called, because I realized in my career, I'm skipping over stuff, Cynthia, but
no, I know it's fine.
But in my career, projects as an actor, and even as a theater person, they come to me either after I have lived the situation or circumstances, or I'm in the midst of trying to work it out, and it's brought to me so I can work it out through the material. So that's my world, is like those doors again, being able to walk through the door or run out the door quickly because it was the wrong door to go through. So, yeah.
Well, you know, what I love about this is that, first of all, you've been a yes. You've been a yes for your life. You've been a yes to projects. You've been a yes to opportunities. You are a living yes. And it gets to play out in the world of creativity and in the world of performance. And having been an actress that worked with you, I mean, you do the same thing for the actors. You offer the yes to them to step into the place. I remember one time being in a play with you and I was freaked out and you said something like, there's always an exit line. And I was like, yeah, I can get out of here by screwing up.
You won't go crazy. There's always an exit or another line.
Yes. Exactly. So here's the thing. I'm assuming in your life, you've had ups and downs like the rest of us. So how have you used your own ups and downs to create characters and also to support other actors in stepping into the fullness of their roles?
Right. When you're living, It's really interesting. When we are coming up and we're living and we're striving, we're pushing and we're running and we're going toward that goal and we're stumbling and falling, and it's all about and not taking the time to stop and assess. It's you do that after the fact. But I know that a couple of things, and I know that I talk in fragments and non sequiturs, but I'm going to come back to the circle.
Okay.
But I have, now see, it went out my head. Ask me the question again.
Okay. Well, about the ups and the downs of your life, and right.
What I have said, and I've been saying this because I find myself lecturing a lot in this time, is one of the things that I was always seeking was someone like me. I always said I wanted someone like me to mentor, but I did not have a mentor coming up. I didn't have the old shamanic woman who I could go to or trust when I was having those moments of doubt and fear and anxiety and unsureness in my own self-awareness, as well as my trek in the arts. So what has happened is I find coming over the mountain so far in this third phase of my life, that I had been forced to go in a fetal position, get quiet in the valley, sort it out. And as much as I resisted, as much as I kicked and I screamed, there was never a thing where I was going to quit. Mm-hmm. It was always, I knew I was going to go through it. And I think that part of my resistance was not going through it. But I always went into that place of, now, wait a minute, you come this far. Who's to say spirit's not going to take you any further than that? The situation here where I thought was, oh my God, so traumatic, and was all about me experiencing and giving me my book of life so I could disseminate that information in my creative world. Yeah. Not only in working with actors, but I also, lecture at universities. Mm. And I'm finding that the sum total, this, your life lived is a model for someone else. And that's when I go, oh my gosh, all of that pain and suffering and the wound that seems so elevated at that time were really my masterclass in understanding my emotional world and psychological world and spiritual world. So because these young people coming up, so I find that I am now I've got a master's degree, but in a way now I have a master's degree in certain part, and I don't have it all in everything, but there's certain things in terms of what I have learned and my trek. And what I do is a study of human behavior.
Yes. And I want to say two things in response to that. I remember a time when my life was falling apart and I was in your room, in your house, barely able to get out of my bed, and you were nurturing and comforting and reminding me, and this is my second point, that there's always a birth, a death, and a rebirth.
Girl, you remember all of this.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because that is what I've seen you do with your life. That's what I've seen you do with your plays. That's what I've seen you do with your actors. That's what I've seen you do with me. It's like, can you get to the birth, the death, and the rebirth? Because it's all a cycle.
It's all a cycle. It's all a cycle. And, and it's like, it's all a cycle. And when I'm breaking down a script for a show, and I say to them, you're portraying a human being. And it is the cycle, and it is the death, burial, resurrection cycle. And at the end is always declared from the beginning. Yeah.
Right. Right. Well, I just love that. The other thing is, there are a lot of people who they're creative in their souls, but they're a little afraid to step into that expression for fear that they can't make a living, for fear that they'll be judged, whatever the fear is. And so for the women that are listening to this, that have a calling to express, what do you want to say to them?
Stop. Stop holding yourself back. Stop listening to those, and you hear them there, and it's different, the different tapes. Stop hearing the echo of another voice that is not your voice, that you've taken on as your voice. And it's a lifetime of work, but I would say stop. And then, what are you afraid of? Why are you? That's what you investigate. Why are you afraid of taking that step? And I know I had a big fear, and it's not like it's not all gone. It's probably dissipated but, a little. But those first 30 for me was a fear of failure.
Yeah.
And if I did something that, because I set a high bar for myself, which was crazy. I would always, and if I didn't meet that bar, oh my God, I thought and experienced the tumble down. And how am I ever going to recover from this? But it was hearing those other voices of other people in my circumstances saying, you're stupid, you don't know, blah, blah, blah. And so I would do those recordings. Now that same thing would drive me to success. Yeah. But at the same time, it would also take me down, that other narrow path. So, but that's taken a long, long lifetime trek that I'm only now. It's really interesting. In the year that was or is or will be, I always say it's going to be the year that when somebody looks at the calendar in the future, they're going to go, oh, okay, there's 20 and 22. What happened to 20? What happened? What happened to 20? That whole year that's not even on the calendar. But that lockdown period was so good for him. It was good for him. Yep. It is good for everybody.
I re-envisioned my whole work life and a lot of my inner world because of the lockdown.
Yes, exactly. It's almost as, when you go, oh, I'm going to meditate. All of a sudden the universe says, you're going to meditate. It's going to be a living, walking, breathing meditation.
For humanity.
It forces you, like what we're doing right now. When they said, I know I'm off track, but when they said, okay, the theater's closed, entertainment industry's closed. Last year I went, oh my God. I did one of those, what am I going to do? Oh. But then as soon as that happened, I got a phone call because now we're in another world. We're in the world of what we're doing now. We're in the remote and Zoom. And I got calls from all over the country. Can you come and talk to my class about your body of work? Can you come and talk to us about what does it feel like you being a director? But so I got all of these calls to come lecture. Then it was, oh, Shirley Joe, can you come? Are you afraid of Zoom? Can you come teach on Zoom? So I have been up in the mountains, going all over the country, from my living room or my office.
Absolutely. What's incredible of what you're saying is that what the pandemic did was it opened the field of possibility.
Yes.
And so now you can be an international speaker teacher and not leave your house. I mean, it's just, it's incredible.
Right.
So before I ask you my last question, though, I want you to tell people how to find you. You know, I mean, if they want to see your body of work, do you have a website? What, you know, how do people connect and find out what you're doing?
Okay, so you can connect to me on my website, which needs to be updated, at shirleyjofinney.com.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can get a hold of me at, I guess you could get a hold of me at Shirley Jo Finney at Yahoo.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, this show is called Woman Awakening. And so the last question I ask every guest is, what is the one thing you want women to know about the importance of their awakening?
It's like a cool glass of water. Is when the awakening happens, the question is, what was I thinking? This is so easy. And I feel you begin, that cool glass of water, I'm going to say it's water, you begin to flow. You begin to flow. And I know that's what I'm experiencing. I've never felt as grounded and as open in my life as I am now. Yeah. Because it's an there's nowhere to go but acceptance. Yeah.
Yes, that's beautiful. Well, it has been quite an extraordinary gift to witness you blossoming and stepping into the fullness of who you are and bringing art to so many people and to so many stages and to so many performers. It's quite a wonderful thing, and honored to witness it. It's inspiring.
And I want to say I'm so glad for you, have always been in my life, has always been supportive in my life, whether we are together or not. And I am so happy that I'm included in your trek. And I'm so glad to witness you on the mountain. I am so glad to witness you on the mountain.
Thank you, Shirley Jo. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So lady,
we'll get to see each other
in person. Wouldn't that be lovely? Instead of waving mountain to mountain.
Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, ladies, we do this every week. You get to meet fabulous women that are no different than you. They're dreamers, they're explorers, and they are in the soul remembrance that they're magnificent. And that's what I want you to know. You are dynamic. You are an expression of the divine that is unrepeatable. You are here because you are supposed to be here, because you matter. And so come back, join, subscribe. You know, we're on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, YouTube. You can find us everywhere. But the most important thing for you is to step into the beauty and the grace and the power that you are. I'm honored to be with you, and I'll see you next time. Blessings.